we cover them all. Call us on 01733 856699 or visit our new office at 304 Lincoln Road. Insure 24/7. We've got you covered. Insure 24/7 is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من تمسك بسنتي عند فساد أمتي فله أجر 100 شهيد. That whoever holds tight my sunnah when there is corruption in my ummah, for him will be the reward of 100 martyrs.
Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salam Radio.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. Welcome once again to the Peterborough Property Guys on Salam Radio. Hope you've all had a good start to the day, good start to the week in fact. You're with myself, Qasafi Sadiq, the host of the Property Guys, alongside my co-host Adam Cooper. Hi Adam, how are you today?
Hi guys, how's everyone? I'm good today. Qasafi, how you been? You been alright?
Yeah, I've not been too bad in fact. I'd been a bit under the weather over the weekend, so just kind of recovering from that, but you know, slowly getting back into the swing of things.
It's all good, man. It's a crazy season change, isn't it? I noticed now, you know, we're actually getting cold, it's getting darker earlier again. You know, we're slowly going into winter again, aren't we?
That's right, we are indeed, absolutely.
Our summer dreams are gone already. What happened?
Well, let's not get, you know, that's just the way it is, isn't it, in the UK?
Can't dwell on the British weather, right?
Absolutely. But we had a good fair shake off the British summer, but the winters are looming upon us now. The days are getting shorter. I'm definitely starting to feel the chills too.
I know. Normally it's boiling in here, isn't it? Normally we've got the aircon on just to keep us sane, but now it's not too bad. It's quite nice in here. Yeah.
But I've got my jumper on because I'm a bit cold today. Don't know about yourself.
Hey, I'm all hooded up today as well. Been running around the building site, so.
Fair do. So guys, we're bringing to you on Salam Radio every Tuesdays at 5 PM our show, the Peterborough Property Guys. We are live on Salam Radio on 106.2 FM. You can listen to us online by visiting salamradio.co.uk or watch the show on our streaming services by searching Salam Radio on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram or Twitter. If you do prefer mobile, you can download the Salam Radio app through the App Store or Google Play. Salam Radio is always on air 24/7, 365, uniting all communities. So today we haven't got a guest as such. However, today we would like you to be our guest because today is our day for question and answers about the Peterborough property market or the property market in general. So guys, if you've got any questions, please do ask, tune in, and me and Adam, we're going to try our best to answer your questions to the best of our knowledge. If you want to get involved, then you could dial the studio number on 01733 602 133, or you could WhatsApp on 07745 278 978, or we are on Facebook Live in fact, so you could comment on there. So as we do every week, we do have two topics this week, in fact, two really interesting topics. And we did touch upon this last week slightly, and we thought this week we'd make it a bit interesting and talk about it. And that is Peterborough too densely populated? We are going to be talking about that in a lot more details, as well as another very interesting topic. As old age pensioners set to rise to 1 in 5 of Peterborough's population by 2037, where are they all going to live? So guys, if you're listening right now and you want to engage with us and ask us any questions about these two topics or anything that you've got in mind, then please do get involved. And like I mentioned, we will try best to answer to the best of our knowledge. So as we do every week, our main man Adam Cooper tells us about why you guys should tune into Islam Radio every single week on Tuesday at 5 o'clock to listen to us guys talk about the Peterborough property market. So Adam,
is it my turn? Let's go. So guys, you need to tune in every Tuesday between 5 and 6. This is where we bring all the information to you guys. We know how hard it is as a landlord or even as an agent in this city or any city to keep up with the regulations, to keep up with the market trends, to keep ahead of the game. Because at the end of the day, guys, we all invest in property, we're all in this game together because we want to change everyone's lives. Not just our lives, we want to change our tenants' lives as well. We want to make sure they live the best and everyone gets a win-win deal. So the only way to do that in this industry is staying knowledgeable, staying educated. So guys, tune in every Tuesday, 5 to 6, and we will bring that education to you of local experts and their honest and real life experience. No book knowledge, real life experience from real life experts. So guys, tune in, you don't want to miss it.
And just to remind everyone, our topics are normally relevant to Peterborough. So this isn't knowledge of London or any part of the world. This is actually about the Peterborough property market. So we're talking about your local hometown. So as mentioned earlier, our topic for this week is Peterborough too densely populated. So guys, this is also a question for you. So if you're listening right now and you think, been living here 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, all my life, what changes have you seen in Peterborough? We would love to hear your thoughts, so do get involved. So Adam, has England's green and pleasant land all of a sudden become England's green and overcrowded land?
Well, now this is a massive topic of debate, Qasafi. I mean, with the nation's ever increasing population, and combine that with the fact that people are now living longer, that means that as each year goes by, there's always going to be a growing strain on the public services. In particular, our favourite, housing. I mean, it's no wonder some people are saying things like, we're at a crisis point when it comes to infrastructure, like roads, schooling, not enough houses. We're always saying about there's so much demand and there's such little supply. So there's always people talking about that, including ourselves. I mean, I hear it all the time. I don't know about yourself. I hear people complaining that people, it looks like a building site everywhere they go. So it's good and bad.
Yeah.
It means there's lots more infrastructure coming, which is great. It's what we need. We need infrastructure. We need homes. But to the general public who aren't interested in that side of things, it probably does look like a building site. So you can kind of sympathise with them there.
Yeah.
I mean, I started delving in some stats on the UK as a whole and on Peterborough as well, just because
that'd be interesting.
I wasn't too familiar on this either, so I thought it was a good chance to do some digging.
Okay.
So starting with the UK as a whole, there are 698 people per square mile, whilst in England there are 1,103 people per square mile. And finally, Greater London, there's 14,587 people per square mile. So, I mean, these sound like massive numbers. Huge, until you drill down and realise square miles pretty big.
It is indeed,
There's only 93,600 square miles in the whole of the UK. And that even includes the wilderness areas of Scotland. So, I mean, if we look at more realistic areas of land, I want to look at my favourite, the acre. So, today's born after mid 1970s, including myself.
Right.
I have to learn about all this as well. And acres are roughly the size of half a football pitch, or square roughly 63 metres by 63 metres. So, there are just less than 2.5 acres in a hectare. So that's a bit of education for you, eh?
Absolutely. It'd be really interesting to know a bit more about how it stands in Peterborough. So we will definitely get into that in more details. The population of Peterborough is about 163,379, give or take. And the total area of Peterborough is just under 11,000 acres, meaning that there's about 15 people living per acre in Peterborough. So how does that compare to neighbouring areas and towns?
Well, because the viewers can't see this graph, but I've got a graph in front of me here, and it breaks it down by the local areas. We've got Peterborough, Huntingdon, Stamford, Cambridge and Corby on here. Now, Peterborough's population stands at 163,379, as you've already stated, and that's across 10,930 acres, so it works out to about 14.95 people per acre. But you look at the likes of Huntingdon, and Huntingdon's only got 23,937, which means there's only 1,776 acres there, so it's considerably smaller. Okay. But it actually equates, because of the lower number of acres, we're at 13.48, so we're about 1.5 off of Peterborough itself. And Stamford's quite surprising as well, really. Stamford's got 20,592 population, but it's only 1.367 acres.
Okay.
So, that's 15.06 people per acre. That's actually more than Peterborough.
Wow.
And finally, Corby. And Corby's quite astonishing, really, because it's coming at 56,810 people, 5,068 acres, but it's 11.21 people per acre. So actually less people per acre than all of them combined. So I mean, you can see that 15 people live in an acre in Peterborough. When you compare it to both Greater London, which has a density of 23.26 people per acre, and London's most crowded suburb I looked into is a place called Pimlico. I'd look it up. But Pimlico has got 92.32 people per acre. But yeah, now you think that's a lot. You compare that to a place called Colblanc district in Barcelona.
Okay.
That has 214.8 people living at it per acre.
Wow.
214.8.
We think we got it bad.
Yeah, we think the traffic's a nightmare in Peterborough. We have 200 people less per acre than that place in Barcelona does. It's insane.
Brilliant, amazing. I mean, we're getting a lot of engagement, guys. So if you do have any questions, then please do ask. This is about your town, Peterborough. Do you feel it's overpopulated? Let us know. Do dial in on 01733 602 133, or alternatively, you could engage with us on Facebook Live. We're getting plenty of people who are engaging with us on Facebook Live at the moment. We're getting the likes of Luke McDonald, who's watching us right now. So hi, Luke. Shazad Ali's watching us. Hi, Shazad. Asif Nazir is watching us. Hi, Asif. Sadat Akram, Sean McQuillan, Atif Javed. Got Rafi Samim watching us right now. So, and also a couple of questions which we will be asking at a later time in the show. But the question we want to ask, Adam, is Peterborough overpopulated? Yes, it seems that way at school time or rush hour when sitting in traffic, that Peterborough is overpopulated, yet the stats show we aren't. So Adam, give us a bit more insight in terms of why Peterborough isn't actually overpopulated the way we think it is.
Well, like we just saw, Qasafi, I mean, you saw the Barcelona town, you saw how much different the results are, 200 people per acre more. I mean, evidently we're never going to have an even spread of population. I mean, you can see it from the figures in the table. You can see how it varies so much, because you got the remote nature of some parts of the country that just couldn't withstand the high density of new people without enormous infrastructure, investment. It's got to be done. I mean, we see the investment going into Peterborough. We've got far, far lower numbers. So imagine developing some of the green belts, some of the green land out there, and putting the infrastructure there. Because I think a lot of people don't realise, because they don't think that everything has to go hand in hand. It's all relevant.
Absolutely.
If you build houses, them houses need infrastructure. You need the shops, the schools, everything. Precisely. Otherwise, it's just like living out in the country, which we can't build mass homes out in the country without anything there.
No.
So I mean, we could probably accommodate a much larger population in the UK, looking at the figures, and even Peterborough. But there's going to be trade-offs. I mean, looking back at the 17th and 18th century, certain sectors of society were warning about population growth back then. So again, I delved into these figures even more, because it's way before my time. But the population of the UK in 1801 was 10.5 million. Right. And even with the growth of the population since then, only 1.2% of the UK is currently built on for housing purposes.
Wow.
So you've got all that land, which we're not using at the minute.
Yeah.
That comes down to planning issues, all the restrictions we have as well.
Government not releasing enough land.
Well, this is it. I mean, we know we've got a finite amount of land. There's only so much we can build on. Like we said, there's only so much that's going to be relevant for us to build on. But as you've seen, we spoke about a couple of weeks, I think, ago, about permit developments, allowing extensions, allowing extra development rights to homeowners, without the need for planning. So the government are opening up. They are making it easier for us as we go along. And I know there's more planning, sort of favourable planning for Greenland as well recently. All the I'm sure the developers will know more about that. But yeah, so they are helping, but it's still not enough. Amazing
content. We're getting plenty of engagement on Facebook Live today, guys. Do join us. We've got a couple of questions that are rolled in so far. Just want to let you know we're going to be answering these questions after the break, so get those questions rolling in for us so we guys could get those questions answered for you. So the question, it seems to me, is not can we manage, but how would a larger Peterborough population change our way of life, both for better and possibly worse?
Well, this is where the planners come in, because ultimately the planners, they have a responsibility to ensure Peterborough provides its fair share of new homes and to accommodate its population growth in the coming years. I mean, but the local authority has a responsibility towards adequate provision of the infrastructure, the roads, the hospitals, the schools, everything, to match the growth in housing. Now, it's not really a political topic, And I hope once the B word, Brexit, we shan't mention it too much.
Yeah.
Once that's finally sorted,
Yeah.
we can get on with addressing the shortage of affordable new homes for future generations, because this problem is not going away.
I mean, with constant advances in technology, medicine, and lifestyles, people in Peterborough area are, on average, living longer than they might have a few decades ago. As Peterborough's population ages, the problem of how the older generation are accommodated is starting to emerge. We as a city have to consider how we supply decent and appropriate accommodation for Peterborough's growing older generation's accommodation needs, while still offering a lifestyle that is both modern and desirable. And this does go on to our next topic, in fact, which is, as old age pensioners are set to rise to 1 in 5 of Peterborough's population by 2037, where are they all going to live?
Well, I hope you got some room at your house, Qasafi, because look at these figures. No,
Got a spare bedroom.
I delved into these figures again, and it's astonishing. It almost made my brain tick on what the future for the rental market's going to be. I mean, looking back in 1997 in Peterborough, around 1 in every 7 people, that's about 14% of the population were aged 65 years and over, and that has increased into around 1 in every 6 people, so up to 15% now in 2017. Now that's projected to reach 1 in every 5 people, so 20% of Peterborough's population by 2037, meaning over the next 19 years, the growth of the over 65 population in Peterborough will grow by 33.3%. A lot more than the overall growth of the population of Peterborough of 12% over the same time frame. And in fact, the number of those over 90 is expected to more than double in our local authority, from 1,397, so 0.7% of the population in 2017, all the way up to 2,949 people, so 1.3% by 2037. So that just goes to prove how much longer we're living.
Wow.
So we have to go somewhere. So but now is the time. Now is the time we can address these issues. We can forward think this. Because I've got more stats. I mean, looking at the majority of the sheltered accommodation fit retirement, is massive amounts of it are in the local authority sector, whilst the majority of private sector bungalows were built in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and they're beginning to show the signs of age. And all that means, again, is you got to think about, because not everyone's got their money in a house or equity to downsize and sell for the right price, and then buy a tired bungalow and do it up. So again, a lot of these people downsizing the cash purchase because this is going to be their last move. So they're not going to have a mortgage. So when these bungalows need 40-50,000 spending on them, not everyone has got that. Especially, like I say, when we're saying about the Brexit in the market and everything, and prices being uncertain at some points, it's all a timing game, isn't it? And you can't time when you get old. There's one thing that's guaranteed for all of us.
Exactly.
We're going to age at the same speed. So it's something that we've got to address sooner rather than later.
It's not really a topic that's discussed in Parliament, it really is it. I mean, they talk a lot about first-time buyers, not getting on the property market. But what about, old age pensioners? Because mentioning before in one of our topics, not really building enough bungalows to accommodate old age pensioners, and as we're increasing according to your stats and numbers, it's a concern. Do you not think?
Well, it is. I mean, because like I say, we're so focused on the first-time buyers, because it's always a topic of debate, isn't it? It's always get the younger generation onto the property ladder. It's always the topic of the evening. And now, looking at these stats, I mean, this is the first time I've really delved into it this much, and seeing that, it almost wonders if we're aiming at the wrong market. Are we doing enough for the older generation? Because at the end of the day, the figures don't lie. It shows that this is going to become an issue in the future. So why are we not looking into this more now?
Interesting. Really, really interesting. Guys, if you've got any questions regarding this topic, then do get involved. If you've got any questions, please do ask. Like I mentioned, we're going to be responding to some of these questions after the break. So if you've got any questions, then please do ask. So what it really comes down to is, in the medium to longer term, we need to build more bungalows and sheltered accommodation. And if we do that, that won't only be a benefit to the elderly population of Peterborough, but it will have a direct knock-on effect to the younger and middle-aged population by unlocking those family homes the older generation homeowners live in. So do you think this is a department the government needs to focus more on?
Well, I mean, there's been 17 housing ministers since 97. No one ever seems to stay in a job very long. Not long enough to create consensus on direction and government policy on the vital issues of the country's housing shortage. Yet, the sound bites and white papers seem to only focus exclusively on first-time buyers, like we just discussed. You know, when there's an even more severe and disregarded shortage in suitable housing for the older generation.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this affects both mature homeowners trapped in unsuitable accommodation, you know, big family properties unable to, like we just said, to downsize in smaller bungalows, or even suitable retirement apartments. Because again, how many retirement apartments complexes do you see now around the Peterborough area? We seem to have a fixed amount now, which doesn't seem to grow too much.
Yeah.
You know, so that's again, they're going to get filled and overcrowded. And eventually, it's going to be the same issue with the rental sector, with the with the retirement sector. We're going to have an over demand and a lack of supply.
Yeah.
Which of course is going to push the price up for everyone. You know, not only that, if they can't get into these retirement apartments, and you know they need suitable housing, they're going to go to the council to try and get on the council sheltered accommodation list. You know, by all rights. But then again, that puts a further strain on other aspects of social care. You know, so I mean, in both circumstances, policy coming out or not coming out of government is repressing the supply and type of accommodation mature people need and desire. You know, whilst at the same time, it's increasing the costs and taxes for social and NHS care. You know, I mean, maybe we need some tax breaks for people to downsize, or even different rules in the planning permission to stipulate bungalows only on certain sites. But I mean, whichever way you look at it, you know, there's definitely challenging times ahead for us on this subject.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to get any easier. It's definitely something we need to address now.
I think what would have been a really good idea is to get a old age pensioner into our studio or on the phone on Skype or Zoom to listen to their hands-on experience and how they're finding the current market in terms of the accommodation. Is it out there for them?
No, it's tough. I mean, I know I get inquiries all the time, you know, from the older generation because we run sort of affordable rooms, you know, where they're even considering a room in a shared house, which at that age is unheard of. You'd never think of that, would you? Imagine like your mum or your dad going and renting a room with a bunch of 20, 30 year olds.
Yeah, precisely.
That shows how severe it's got. I mean, it must be a terrible position to be in because to not be able to find somewhere suitable to live.
Yeah, I totally agree. Even the old people's home, the retirement homes. If you look recently, I've seen a couple go on the market to that's quite strange, would you not say? Considering that that's a kind of ongoing issue with old age pensioners finding accommodation.
I think it's always one of the things, isn't it? I mean, I get the impression that obviously from a lot of the older generation, they'd rather go into like a retirement apartment rather than a retirement home.
Right.
Okay. They want to give that independence. So it seems like, and again, a lot of the retirement homes got bad raps, haven't they? From all the media, from the few select care workers who are mistreating their patients, in the day, or their clients, should I say? So I think that's why more people are pushing more towards the more permanent housing solution, more like assisted living, but in apartments, stuff like the Lincoln Gates development, on Lincoln Road.
Yeah. That
sort of setup where they have their freedom, but they have someone on hand should they need it. And I know myself, when I get old, that's the sort of thing I'd want. Now, you still want your freedom, don't you, at the end of the day? Just because they're old doesn't mean all they want to do is sit in a care home. So I think we need to realise that with the properties we're building. Just like myself and my clients, we develop houses to suit our needs for shared accommodation. The same could be done for the older generation. It's the same thing in theory. And I know a lot of developers do this. It's a new strategy they're using, where they will take like a big house, normally a rundown HMO, and they will turn it into almost like a little makeshift elderly care facility, or even almost like a halfway house, but for NHS patients. Because there's a demand for it, and I hear the money's really good as well. It's not something I've looked into.
I was going to ask, do you think there's a gap in the market where you would explore?
Definitely. I was just speaking to a developer earlier. We're working on a big site in Peterborough, and he was saying he had a friend over in London, because he's from London way, who does that, and that's all he does as a living. He literally just operates them kinds of properties. He builds them up, then he hands them over to the council on a long lease. The council do all the legwork, they do all the operation side of it, because he's set up as they need. Because like we always say, there's a shortage in the property. The council could generally offer the services, but if they haven't got the property or the premises to operate from, that's where they're lacking. So it's one of them strategies where you could help people. You could help the council, help the elderly, and help yourself. Everyone's a winner.
Yeah, you have the issue with, for example, housing benefit. I know a lot of agents don't take a stance and kind of move backwards to people who are on housing benefit. Do you reckon with old age pensioners that agents look at them in the same way?
Like I say, it's tricky. It is tricky because it's a couple things, isn't it? It is the method of payment, you know, because a lot of the elderly who are in the rented tend to be on a housing benefit, and it's hard because they've got no income either because obviously they're old and retired, you know, by rights they've done their time. So it's hard on that aspect. It's hard than finding suitable accommodation. Like I said, Qasafi, I wouldn't dream of putting my mum in a house and a shared house which suited them, you know, with a bunch of 20, 30-year-old people because they're just not going to mix well.
No, of course not.
You've got to think you've got to have similar interests, you know, similar backgrounds, you know, before that. Otherwise, it would just be just a nightmare. You'd have older versus young, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. You'd rather have, you know, a particular age group who are kind of, you know, communicating together. They can understand one another, and you know, the age difference just says it all, doesn't it? You know,
exactly.
Being young and being wild compared to someone who's elderly who like a bit of peace, would like a bit of, you know, quiet enjoyment,
a bit of tranquility, eh? They deserve at that age. But, I mean, that's why it's a separate strategy in itself. You couldn't mix the two. You know, I do think again, old people are sort of at the brunt of it with when it comes to terms of renting because their income's so limited on that side of things.
Awesome. Well, this first part of the show has been quite informative. Very, very interesting stats that you've mentioned. So we've got quite a few questions that have been asked from our listeners on Salam Radio on Facebook Live. So we're going to go for a short break, and once we do come back, we're going to be answering those questions that the likes of Shazad Ali, Sam Bertram have asked. There's a couple more that are coming through. So guys, if you've got any questions, then please do tune in on Facebook Live or give our studio a call, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. See you guys after the break.
You're listening to Salam Radio, and it's now time for Asr Azan. This Azan is sponsored by UK Islamic Mission, serving humanity since 1962.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح
الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم بك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
This Azan is sponsored by UK Islamic Mission, serving humanity since 1962.
Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salam Radio.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to Salam Radio 106.2 FM. You are listening to the Peterborough Property Guys with myself, Qasafi Sadiq, and my co-host Adam Cooper. As mentioned, guys, we haven't got a guest as such, but today you guys are our guests because you're going to be asking us questions about the Peterborough property market. In particular, the topics that we mentioned, is Peterborough too densely populated? Now, before the break, we've had a number of questions from the likes of Shazad Ali, Sam Bertram, Sean McQuillan, Luke McDonald, and a few more. So guys, if you've got any questions that you want to ask us, then please do get involved. You can get involved on Facebook Live. You can WhatsApp us on 077 45 278 978. Adam, how you finding the show so far?
I think it's really good, Qasafi. It's really good. I love it when the viewers get engaged as well, start bringing in questions to us. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all about. You know, it's all about bringing in the answers that the viewers want to know. You
Absolutely.
know, and it helps keep us on the top of our game.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you.
So it's all good.
Definitely.
So guys, keep them coming in.
Yeah, keep them coming, guys. Absolutely. So let's start off with our first question from Shazad Ali. Shazad did say earlier on, in fact, he said, "Good afternoon, Adam and Qasafi." Sorry about that, Adam. Sorry about that, Shazad. We did miss that. So this is what Shazad asked. Well, in fact, this is his opinion, first of all. So Shazad said on Facebook Live, "I don't feel Peterborough is overpopulated. Reason being, one, the council is failing to build new properties. We have enough room to grow as a town and maybe get the recognition of becoming a city."
Mm-hmm.
So secondly, different rules apply to different players in the building trade, i.e. from big company versus private developers. There is plenty of undeveloped land sites in and around Peterborough, but saying, I do feel there are areas in Peterborough which are too densely populated due to local amenities and services. So, quite an interesting point that he's made.
Yeah, it's quite a good view on it, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
He's not saying all of it's an issue. He's saying there's areas which actually have got too much development, and then there's areas where there's not enough. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think I probably tend to agree a little bit on there. You know, you do drive past some bits of Peterborough and go, oh my God, like, how's
Yeah.
it still empty? Why is there a bit of land sat there?
Yeah.
You know, in a really built residential area. But then you do go to some parts of the city centre, there's certain parts where it's so crammed in now.
Yeah.
We're just trying to squeeze too many people in the centre, because obviously that's a lifestyle choice. We want to live around there.
Yeah, precisely. No, I totally agree with you.
But again, there's clearly demand. But then look at all the buildings getting converted. Because if you look at, you know, the job centres getting converted, so God knows how many flats over there.
Yeah, precisely.
You know, I know there's ones on Priestkent in my office where you got, I think it's the old M&S building there being converted to about 92 or 94 flats there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The old Poundland.
Yeah. Oh, even that's going. Yeah.
Converted.
Well, that was what the day after it was empty. I saw all the boards go up on that
Yeah.
for construction.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that's an interesting building to get converted as well. You see, that's not the typical kind of building I would have thought they would have allowed. So it goes to show they're getting more flexible on it, and it is coming. They are letting us develop and more into the commercial areas like the city centre where it's normally like the high street shops. You know, because I don't know, you know, Qasafi, the different shops we're getting now. We're getting more. Seems on the high street, especially in like Cross Street and everything, we're getting vape shops and coffee shops rather than sort of retail shops anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if you've been following the news lately, but I think M&S shares dropped significantly since 40 years.
Really, like I said, I try and avoid the news because it's too depressing sometimes.
Yeah,
but
we spoke about that last week, didn't we? But yeah, it shows you that the retail outlets, you know, they kind of
It's changing, isn't it?
Diminishing, aren't they?
Yeah, it's changed. Everyone's online. You got a phone, I've got a phone, got a laptop.
Precisely.
Until a few had a second phone. You know, like, we don't need the high street as much as we used to anymore.
Yeah, let's just hope that estate agency and letting agencies don't go that route.
It's fine. All my tenants reach me on my phone anyway, so it's fine. Easy.
I think with the estate agency and letting agency, it's all about that personal touch that people like.
It is. I find society's going in almost like a forward, and then we're going back to more customer service now, aren't we? As we wanted technology, we wanted automation, we wanted quick, we wanted now, we wanted it instantly. I feel like the coffee shops are going to come in more now to start connecting people again, give them that personal experience. So I do think we're leaning back towards the customer experience way now.
Absolutely. So just want to be going through some of the questions that we're receiving through WhatsApp, text message, on Facebook Live. This is a text message, a WhatsApp message that we received from Sean. So Sean's asked, what changes would you make the UK house buying process in order to speed up the sales process, and what stimulus would you propose to advance growth through first-time buyers to get onto the property ladder? So thank you for that question, Sean. You've got a few more questions here, but
it's interesting though about the whole sales process. I don't know about you, Qasafi. I find one of the biggest bane in my life when I buy houses is searches. The searches always take longer than you'd hoped. You know, and then the inquiries off the back of the searches which took too long anyway, then take too long to go back and forth with.
No.
Without that part in the middle, we could definitely speed that process up. Do you not reckon?
I totally agree.
No, maybe like if you could preempt doing searches, almost the vendor could.
Yeah.
And we could because then straight away, boom, day one, draft contracts go out.
Yeah.
Search results go out. Then the other side can start raising inquiries from day one.
Totally agree. Okay, so going on to our next question from Sean. What do you forecast in light of Brexit being delayed? Okay, what do you forecast in light of Brexit being delayed will do to the housing market?
Well, we've kind of experienced this already, haven't we, with the March referendum? That we never got the result that anyone wanted. So now we're here again.
Yeah.
I don't think it affected us too much, to be fair. I think it was more the talk that sort of slowed us a little bit.
Yeah, I think to that it's more uncertainty more than anything. I mean,
it's uncertain. I mean, I don't know if you found it, whether it slowed down or not, but like we keep discussing it, the demand here is still crazy. So we're still selling. I think it's more going to affect the people looking to sell. Like you say, you're going out to these bigger houses and people are humming and ahhing about Brexit. Well, whether to sell before or after, what they're going to do. Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not sure if you were watching the news yesterday. Obviously, I've not been asking you that because you don't, do you? Well, there's a potential, snap general election coming up, end of probably mid October.
Okay.
So that's going to be really interesting because they may even potentially delay it for longer till next year. So, I think people are starting to realise that this is just a ongoing saga that may not end for quite a while. So I think what people need to start doing is just, if they need to move. If they need to buy.
Yeah, I don't think we can walk around on eggshells forever with sort of the economy of the housing market and that side of things, can we? Like you say, people have got lives to live, people have got to move. Some people generally have to move, due to circumstances.
Yeah.
I don't think they can sit on the fence anymore and go about the prices. We haven't done too bad this year, I don't reckon, anyway. I haven't got any major bargains as a result. I don't know about you.
Likewise. Yeah, we get some really interesting questions coming in right now, guys, on WhatsApp, on text message, on Facebook Live in particular. Another comment from Shazad Ali. We need more done to this town because there is a lot of potential to grow better services and open more shopping centres. The heart of Peterborough still lies around Queensgate Shopping Centre. Shazad, thank you for that comment. What would you say, Adam, regarding that?
Well, obviously Queensgate's getting extended, we know that.
Yeah.
But I think Shazad's saying Queensgate is the main facility and we need more. That's the way I read that. I don't know if I'm interpreting that wrong, Shazad. But I mean, I know what you mean. We had the Serpentine Green extension recently, didn't we? Over in Hampton. I mean, I think they got a Next. I think it got a Costa and an M&S, and it wasn't huge, but it added a little bit more to it. And I think again, it comes with the infrastructure we need around these new build sites. Especially in regards to Hampton, the Gunthorpe sites as well, the Warrington sites. I think if we just built more infrastructure around these, it would even us out more as a town, really. So rather than everything being based around Queensgate, because I think you're right. I think that's a lot of where the overpopulation happens is because of the amenities that are so resourceful to us for our everyday lives.
Yeah.
That everyone wants to cram around that area,
Yeah.
which then makes people look overcrowded and gives everyone an impression when in reality it's not. We've just seen on the facts.
I mean, we are starting to notice that a lot of things are starting to move out from the city centre and starting to kind of, slightly move towards the Fletton sides.
I was going to say south of the river with the Fletton Keys development, everyone's pushing that way. You've got the urban beach development come in. I think that's going to be a huge plus for Peterborough. I think that's going to bring the start of many new infrastructure. I mean, you've got what was it, a Premier Inn going up where the old police station is?
Yeah.
You've got the potential of the Hilton Hotel at the back of the Fletton Quays as well. You've got the is it a distillery? I think there's a whiskey distillery going there.
Okay.
From what I've heard, I don't know, I haven't seen the plans on that, but that's what I've heard. And then will the university propose to come?
Yeah, that's going to be where the embankment is.
They reckon that's going to be on the embankment, which, from what I can see, looks like it's all gearing up to align with the urban beach development. And the students come, and the teachers, the lecturers, the parents. It's going to force more people in the city, which are going to have to. It's going to force the infrastructure up. We as a city are going to have to offer them something different to come in. Because there's loads of university towns out there. At the minute, Peterborough has the main things going for it of it's really, really good for commuting, and it's massively diverse. So almost no matter where you come from, you're going to be accepted, and you're going to be able to commute, which is great. But they're going to need more things to attract people in Qasafi.
I mean, going to Shazad's point, you're saying the heart of Peterborough still lies around Queensgate Shopping Centre. So the fact that the old job centre moved, now the new job centre's moved. You've got Bio Plaza that's moved. A lot less is happening around that area.
It is.
But that's really a really good question. Thank you very much, Shazad.
That's a really good point, to be fair.
Yeah, for those points and questions. A question from Sam Bertram. Do you think the council supports local investors to help bring decent quality accommodation to our local area? Good question, Sam. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sam. I think that's one for me, Qasafi.
Okay.
So that one, I mean, I definitely think the local council do support us investors, When I was just on site having a meeting with them today, a massive site, I'll be posting more about it later on, but it's a 25 studio site, so it's going to house another 25 people, which is going to mean massive amounts to the local area for local tenants looking to get in that area. Like we're saying, it's in the city centre where people want to live, And now I had a meeting with two of the officers there, and they were so supportive, because I think all they wanted was to get back up and running. They couldn't give enough praise for taking on such a big building. Yeah, I mean, because ultimately we want the same thing. We all want to house tenants in good quality accommodation, and to do that we need to work together. When this building had been closed down by police closure order before it was that bad, and now the council are only more than willing to come and help out. They're being
really good to hear.
Yeah, so I think, guys, it just comes down to working with your local council. You've got to have them on your side. If you give them every reason to be on your side by doing a good job and being conscious of everything you're doing and making sure that you are doing it for the right reasons, then I think that they're a blessing to have them next to you. They actually help you succeed faster because they can see your good intentions. So I think I totally do see the council helping us out there. We all want the same goal. I think our perception of it's maybe slightly different.
Super. We've got the questions rolling in at the moment, but what we want to do is answer one of Luke McDonald's questions that he's actually texted in. What questions should I ask an estate agent when viewing a house?
Oh, that's the one for you, Qasafi.
Okay. Well,
that's your expertise right there.
It is indeed, absolutely. Well, Luke, what kind of questions you want to be asking an estate agent when you're going to view a house is, firstly, how long the property's been in the market for? Have you had any interest? Have you had any offers? The situation of the vendor. It's always good to know the vendor situation. Is it a chain, or is it chain free? So these are some of the questions that you need to ask an estate agent when you're about to view a property, because it puts you in a better situation in terms of how you should deal with the offer that you're going to put in. Because if a property's getting a lot of interest, and that where your offer has to sit. If the property's not getting the right interest, if it's been in the market for a long time, then that you've got a better chance of getting a cheaper offer accepted for that property. So these are some of the questions that you could ask an estate agent when you decide to view a property. Adam, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, I find one of the biggest things that people people miss as buyers, you know. Remember, everyone thinks about what's in it for them. That's what we all must remember in this life. It's all down to what is in it for them. So the question we need to ask these vendors is, what is it they want from the sale? Because I've found in my experience, vendors aren't always looking for the highest price. Some people want to move quickly. Some people just want a sale secured. They want to know it's going to go through. You know, and some vendors are willing to do, you know, some creative strategies to get their property sold because of that. I mean, I'm buying one at the minute with an exchange and delayed completion because the vendor couldn't sell it. It's quite a hefty sized property. You know, it's going to be seven studios. You know, so it's a big old lump of a residential property in a strange area of Peterborough. It doesn't really command that sort of price, that kind of house type. It's full of lots of small mid-terrace houses. Great location for the strategy we use, but the vendor couldn't shift it. So again, it was sitting down with the vendor and find out what was important to him.
It's quite interesting, that is. It really is interesting. I mean, do you reckon that's the right kind of, you know, chess piece to play? Because if you ask that question, then the vendors kind of knows what position you're in. And
I think it depends on the vendor, you know. And then I found I'm quite good at building rapport with these people, you know, especially when it comes to property. I speak their language, just like you, Qasafi. You know? So I just sit down, I'm just straight and honest with them. I don't want to waste anyone's time. And I clearly tell them that, look, guys, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to offer you a deal that doesn't work for you. You know, what is it you're looking for? What's most important to you? A bit like you guys as estate agents, because if you do, when you're listing the property, I do the same when I'm buying properties. You know, being an estate agent, I know the questions these vendors have been asked. You know, I know that everyone's motivation is different.
It's quite interesting looking at it from that aspect. So we've got a few more questions on Facebook from Sean again. Sean's asked, what do you think of Iceland taking over the Toys R Us site?
It's interesting. I've not seen that yet, to be fair.
Yeah,
is that a thing? Is it?
The latest headline today or yesterday on Peterborough Today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is really interesting, to be fair. I did wonder who's going to take up such a big site. So I think originally they were trying to sell small parcels of land on their site, weren't they, for quite a lot of money. I think in the millions.
Yeah. I think one of the questions asked was, there's too many supermarkets in Peterborough. Goodness, you're not wrong about that.
Only have too many supermarkets, guys. Surely you want to go out and get your bread, eggs and milk just down the corner from your door, no? Or is that just me?
I think the more options you have, the better.
Exactly. I know where I live. I've got a co-op right around the corner. It's brilliant.
Yeah. So another question asked, would you bring in legislation to stop second home purchases that do not rent out to local people outside the holiday season?
Cool, that's a really in-depth one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would we bring that in? So what was the question again? Have you repeat it?
Yeah. Would you bring in legislation to stop second home purchases that do not rent out to local people outside the holiday season?
Okay. So he's on about a bit like Airbnb and stuff, isn't he? You know, the new trend of service accommodation. That's quite an interesting one. I don't know about you, but I don't think personally that's affecting us too much in places like Peterborough yet. I think in like the London markets where there's always a huge shortage of housing for tenants. In that market where that's definitely a massive issue. And you've got to remember, people are coming to Peterborough for one or two things, it seems, at the minute. They're coming either to commute, they're coming to work, or they're coming. Well, that's the main things, isn't it? It's pretty, coming sightseeing, but at the minute we haven't got loads to see.
Yeah.
So I find that people are coming short term because we actually do a little bit of service accommodation. They're mainly contractors or people visiting friends and family. I don't see that as a massive burden on Peterborough yet. I don't think the numbers there yet. Because I don't think we have the attractions, the tourist attractions, to bring enough of that market in for people to start doing that on a larger scale. But then I have seen a development on Broadway, which I think they're doing a similar thing there. I think it's about 4 houses all going to be turned into one big service accommodation complex.
Oh, that's quite interesting.
It's an interesting sort of way of looking at it, a different way of doing property investment with the tax change and everything.
Yeah, precisely. So it's a new method of renting nowadays, isn't it?
It is. But I mean, I don't think it's going to take over your standard AST type of renting anytime soon.
No.
Especially
in Peterborough anyway. I mean, if you're thinking about London or a bigger city, then...
Yeah, a lot of the touristy places,
Yeah, precisely.
But Peterborough, I mean, we've got the cathedral, which is beautiful. We've got Fairy Meadows, lovely. But there's not too many sites you're going to come and stay for a long period of time here at the minute, is there?
Precisely. Another question from one of our viewers. As far as Parliament goes, where do we draw the line with old age pensioners or age of retirement? Interesting question. I mean, at the current age for male is 65, is it?
It's right? 65, yeah.
And for female is 60, is it?
I think it's about that, yeah.
Yeah. So, if I've got the question right, I think what Shazad is kind of hinting at is that the correct age for retirement?
Now, I think that, this comes down to a lot of people's lifestyle choices now, doesn't it? Because I think the problem I'm seeing, I don't know about yourself, but I'm seeing that a lot of people can't afford to retire when they get to that age anymore. It's not the fact that they can't retire, but I see more often than not. Well, it may just be there's a circle I mix in, but I see that a lot of them they carry on working purely because they have to. Now you have to ask yourself: is that financial life choices as they've gone through their life, or has circumstances put them in that situation? Is it the government's way of thinking that's put them there? Has the retirement age forced people to work longer and therefore work less skilled jobs and have less savings at the end of it? Or is it just cost of living and inflation gone up and it's just eroded their wealth, and hence why people are working longer? So I mean, that's a topic we can dive into for probably a whole show on its own. I do think it is something it needs to be looked at. I say we like me and you, Qasafi, sit down at a desk and rewrite. I don't think it's Parliament need to sit down and look at.
Precisely.
But it's one that does need some more attention on it, isn't it, really? Because again, like we're discussing, there's clearly going to be an issue with it's all going to come tumbling at some point. That along with the actual pensions themselves, that's another topic again.
Yeah. So got a couple of more WhatsApp messages that I'm going to read out, as well as a text message, and they're quite relevant to one another. What do you forecast in light of Brexit being delayed will do to the housing market? And another similar question: what impact will the upcoming general election have on the Peterborough property market? So I think we've kind of answered those questions, haven't we, earlier on, in terms of there was a potential general election in March, then we've got a potential one in October. The referendum may be delayed till January, so there's so much going on at the moment, a lot of uncertainty. So I think, as mentioned previously, I think the best...
You've got to get riding it out, haven't you? You've got to get riding it out. I mean, at the end of the day, if you need to buy, you need to buy. If you need to sell, you need to sell. I still think there's going to be a good opportunity to buy when Brexit does come. So for any buy-to-let investors, any landlords out there, I think it'll be a great time to buy then. But I mean, until then, guys, we just need to crack on with our day-to-day, I reckon. No, we can't let it slow us down, can we?
Of course not, no. Just got to get on with it. I mean, like we mentioned previously, for those who need to buy, they will buy. For those who need to sell, they have to sell, because everyone is in their own situation and different circumstances. Another question that we received: what solutions do you have for an aging UK population whose choices of care home is an unaffordable cost on their financial well-being? Does this mean that they cannot leave an inheritance to their children? Maybe Upaya is the solution.
Maybe. What is the solution?
I'm not entirely sure. But another interesting question from Sean.
It's the cost of living again, isn't it? That age-old scenario coming up again. Is are we budgeting enough up to our old age? Or is inflation just so much that the cost of the care homes are making it unaffordable for people to live? And like you say, people are selling their homes. Because it's a sad sight to see, isn't it, Qasafi? When you go to a probate and people are selling their home, well, not a probate, sorry, I phrased that wrong. When you go into a valuation, it's because someone's gone into care. They're selling their house, and that house is just going to pay for the care home, and the kids are going to get nothing from that hard-earned work. And it's not very nice to see, is it? You think they worked their whole life. They've saved to get the first house. They've done the first time buy a bit. They've probably moved up a few times, upsize, and now they've got to downsize. And then normally the last bit was sell the house. And all that money goes back just to pay for the care home until they eventually pass, bless them. That's not quality of life, really, is it? To be having to work all that and then not be able to show anything for at the end. So no, I mean, again, it's an issue. It's something that really relates back to what we were saying about earlier. Is there a new method that the government can come up with to help house these elderly people at a more affordable cost? Would like I say, like the co-living environment, almost like a HMO, like a shared house, but for the elderly work? Because at the end of the day, a lot of elderly people suffer from the isolation. So maybe like one massive, I guess kind of like a care home, but more of a residential type setup would work for them. Like a 10 to 20 bed accommodation with quite a few communal areas for the elderly would work really well. It's maybe a fresh approach on it.
Interesting.
Because in 2019, a lot of these care homes that I see, are closing down because they're old. They're old and they're functioning in old traditional ways.
Yeah.
And we as a generation are changing every day. Now more of those than ever with the rise of technology.
Interesting. Well, thank you very much, Sean, for those questions, as well as Shazad Ali. We've had questions from Sam. Thank you very much, Sam, for your questions, as well as Luke. Thank you, Luke, for your questions. Guys, if you've got any more questions, then please do ask us. We've got a couple of minutes before we're going to be wrapping things up. Just having a look through the messages now. Got one question here. Would you give a greater tax relief to first-time buyers that already exist at present? That's from another message from Sean. Thank you very much for that question.
So greater tax reliefs. So I mean, you already get the stamp duty tax relief, don't you? I mean, you get that as kind of like a tax.
Yeah.
So they get their relief there. They get a lot of government incentive schemes. I mean, I think this, they're doing a fair bit to help. But again, I think, and I think I'll probably say this because it's my generation. And I think a lot of my generation needs more financial planning, to be able to afford these things. We're a generation of wanting it now with Amazon Prime, with everything like that.
Yeah.
You get it like on your doorstep like that. So I think we just need more financial education, guys, in this sector.
Brilliant. Well, look, I think it's been a really interesting topic. Two topics I've discussed today is Peterborough too densely populated, and obviously old age pensioners due to increase in 2037, where they're going to live well. But a lot of interesting questions. I hope you found the content interesting, and I hope you found the answers relevant to your question, guys. That's the end of our show now, so thank you very much for tuning in today. Next week we've got a special guest that's going to be tuning in to talk about how communication is so important. So you can rewatch the show on Facebook and YouTube, or alternatively by visiting my blog page on peterboroughpropertyblog.com. That's the end of the show, guys. From myself and Adam, thank you very much for joining us today on Salam Radio. Until next week, same time, same place, we are your Peterborough Property Guys.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
The masjid is a center of spirituality, education, and a social hub for the community. In the times of the Blessed Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, the masjid lay at the heart of society and was not